A very good evening to our viewers. Thank you for joining us tonight on this highlight show of the Evening Review. My name is Toivo Njebela. This week on the show, we had Benguinduk's Forensic Services Manager, John Truter, to talk to us about the increasing incidents of online fraud. Of course, this building on to the police report last weekend where a lot of money has been lost through online scamming activities, with one resident losing as much as nearly 1 million in Khobabes. Here is what Mr. Truter had to say.
What is happening recently, not only recently, is coming over for a few years. It's a fraudulent scam that fraudsters are calling clients with different stories, and they convince clients to provide them with their login details, their passwords, their PINs. So in that way they can go into the account of the client and they basically take over the client account, and then they start to transfer money from that account. They're stealing the money. That's what's going on. You would remember recently there was a high-profile incident where the Honourable Prime Minister fell for the scam, and she lost quite some money. And the scam that she fell for is the scam that's being daily used by the fraudsters to steal the money from the clients.
It seems it's the same sort of tactics that's being used all over. So how is it that we are failing to sort of curb this?
Yeah, that is correct. They make use of one specific tactic, and that is based on psychological weaknesses of a human being. So they prey on this human behavioral weaknesses. So what they will do is they will call you and they will create a sense of urgency in that money is being taken off your account by way of debit card transactions or withdrawals. By the time they call you, you will have received the notices of those transactions, but these are all fraudulent notices. So when they call you, you already have seen that transactions, and when the person say he's calling from your banking institutions, you believe the person because you can verify he has knowledge of what you see on your phone. So he win your confidence by that way. And then he start asking you all kind of questions to stop these transactions from happening. And in order to do so, we ask you for your personal login details, like your password, your username, and your PINs. So while you're on the phone, he accesses your account, and then he starts to transfer. And the more SMS notifications you received of the fraudsters' transfers, that urgency increases. And that way they can take more and more money. For example, if you go above a certain amount, you may have to provide OTP, a one-time PIN or whatever, and you will give what they ask you in order to stop this fraud. By the time that you realize that something is wrong, your account is basically empty.
Of course, you are from Benguinduk, but this scam is prevalent across all the banks. From a forensic point of view, do you think is there still room for you as banks to maneuver as far as ensuring that the necessary security features are in place to prevent some of these things?
Yeah, this scam is not only prevalent in Namibia, it's also prevalent in South Africa. And last week I did some reading and I noticed it's excellent, very prevalent in the UK, in Australia, and in the United States as well. So this is a worldwide phenomenon. The banks try to do what we can, but from the bank's perspective, when all your login details are correctly entered, according to the bank, it is a real client that is accessing his account, because the client receives a personal identification number. That is his personal PIN. And only the client knows that PIN. The bank doesn't know your PIN. So according to the bank, it is a client who's accessing his account. So it's very difficult for the bank at this point in time to separate whether it's a fraudster, whether it's a real client. After the transactions, the client will then hopefully call his contact center of the bank and they can then start to restrict the account, and they can't restart to recover monies that was transferred to other accounts by blocking those accounts, contacting other banks and see what they can recover. So the banks go out of the way to protect our clients, and there's a very good cooperation between the Namibian banks in that sense, that we assist each other and we share information.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So from a recovery point of view, what is it that the bank can do once I realize that I've been defrauded?
Well, the bank can look at the account, and the bank can follow those transactions. But one point, the fraudsters do not steal money to invest or to save. The moment the money is landing in the fraudster's account, they start to withdraw it in cash. Now, what they don't use their own accounts, they use what we call mule accounts. That is accounts specially opened and being used by the fraudsters for fraud. It is not fraudulent open accounts. It is a real account opened by a real person with a real identification document. So it's a real account. So the bank will restrict those accounts and transfer the money back to the account where it came from. If money was transferred to other banks, we will contact those banks as well. They will restrict the accounts and transfer the money back to our accounts. There is a process between the banks, but that is what happened. It might take a few days or even a week or two, but that is what we can do at the end of the day to recover the monies for the client. And unfortunately, the money that cannot be required, that is a loss for the client.
Okay. And talk to us a bit about the mule accounts as you mentioned, and perhaps the importance for clients to ensure that their banking affairs is solely within their control.
Yeah, a client must not open accounts on the request of another person, and the client must not hand the bank card to another person, and also not the PIN. Because you must remember what is happening here is actually money laundering, where the money is stolen from one account and then it's processed through other accounts in order to withdraw the money and get the money as if it is valid money in the system. But that is money laundering, and the account owner can be charged for money laundering, which is a serious offense in Namibia as well.
Okay. So during your course of investigations, once this cases comes up, what have you picked up as far as these mule accounts are concerned? Who are these people normally? Is it your ordinary people, or who are these people normally?
There's basically two. There's people with currently existing accounts, and they're being promised a work by a employer. Somebody picked them up on the street and say they will give them a job, but they need to open an account. So they will take these people to the banks, and this person is asked to open a valid account. It will pass all the tests from a compliance perspective, because it's a warm body sitting there, open the account with a valid ID, even a letter from his employer that he's now being employed, and he will receive a certain amount as a salary. So it's a valid account, but the moment they leave the bank, the employer will take over the card, basically the account, and he will say thank you to the person, give him a few $1 million, and they can now use that account. And what we find is they normally only use that account once, and then they move on to use other accounts because of the danger that they can be caught out. So the police will approach the account owner. He will not know what happened to the account. He can only relay the story as to how the account was opened, and that's the end of it. It will not take us to the fraudsters.
Also, on the show this week, we hosted Affirmative Repositioning Movement's spokesperson, George Kambala, to speak to us about that newly registered political party's preparation for the November election. This is what he had to say.
Thank you, Toys, and also good evening to your fellow viewers. First and foremost, I think we need to understand the the birth of AR it is by its own nature. We exist in 6 different struggles, and one of that struggle is the mass demonstration or the mass demonstration or mass mobilization, one would say, and also one is also the elections. So it's a site of struggle. So we can't say that the African Revolutionary Movement has transformed into a political party. We just officially entered the arena of politics, because remember we already did this in 2020 as a site of struggle. So this is so that I'm trying to say that we just don't merely exist to participate in elections, but we exist before and after elections.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. I mean, of course, the 2020 you because the route that you used to participate in the local authority elections in 2020 was, of course, different, because in those kind of elections you can have ratepayers associations and other groupings that can, but those cannot participate in the national election.
Yes,
that's why you have now grown into a political party.
Yeah.
This question I think I've asked you before, but I will ask you again. Because you didn't do particularly well in 2020, because you won 2 seats in the city of Windhoek council. It's a movement that has stood with people for so long. I thought you would get slightly more than that, but be that as it may, the dynamics could be different. Do we expect an improved performance in this election, and on what basis, if so?
Yeah, look, see, if we are to use the 2020 election as a basis, remember you can't. It's my first time. I'm a baby, so whether out of the hospital I start walking or immediately crawling, there isn't any basis for me to be judged or to be said, no, but your brother came like this, so why did you do? So I think it's always unfair. I would say it's unfair, but somehow it's unfair for anybody to say that no, we did bad, we did good. I mean, for anybody to participate in the election, first of all, it's already a victory for you to participate in that particular process. Now, whether you get 3 or 4 seats, it's a game. That's a game changer. So we say, look, we did what we did in 2020, but looking at November now, we are most likely. I can't comment on saying that we're gonna do A, B, C, and D, but at the moment is that our projections are very good. We are very confident in the process, and we were looking at least putting some sand in someone's foot this time around, definitely.
Yeah. Why did you enter the political space? What is it that you want to achieve by becoming a political party?
Yeah, look, David, I'm saying that we have already been in the space. The political space, we have been there since 2014. So it's nothing new. The space, the political party, the political space is nothing new. But perhaps to say that the election struggle or the election side is something new that we have already envisioned already in 2016. But for us to say that, we said that, look, it must be done gradually, because at the same time you always have people around you. You always have scavengers, vouchers, everybody in your ear saying go ahead and do this. And say that, look, as young people that define ourselves, as young people that define our struggle, as young people that define our own journey, we shall do this by our own standards and by our own pace. So this was not informed by anything else but young people. So there isn't any say that, no, this maybe there's a little fish that you want to go and eat come 2025. No, it's to say that, look, as young people we need to go in there and air our voices as young people. The time is now.
Yeah, but how do you differentiate yourself from other political parties? I mean, I just checked the figures this week, and there are 20 political parties registered with ECN.
I hope you got the two now that came out this week.
Then yes, yeah, because I just captured that information yesterday, so I think they're included in that. But be that as it may, how would you set yourself apart from the 19 other formations?
The 19 formations generally are not youth-led. I mean, in context of from age, in context of age, in context of thought, in context of what we are able to bring to the table. When we say it's youth-led, it's on all spheres, but it's beyond that.
But that is exactly the. You see, my difficulty, George, is when people talk about youth, this youth that. I am not too old. I think I'm still a young person myself. But I do not understand this obsession with young people. What does it mean? I mean, if being young, what does it do? You could be old and be really a bad leader, or young and be a bad leader. I mean, what is the difference?
So the difference here is that we need to take charge of our own destinies. We can't allow anybody else to do that for us. Because for the past 34 years, we have done that already. We have allowed other people to run for us. We have allowed other people to speak on our behalf. We have allowed other people to make critical decisions on our behalf. Even today now, somebody 60s, over the age of 60, decided on the repo rate today. But that particular person, give him 10, 15 years, he won't be alive. But the repo rate between now and then, he would have been grown, and he also would have made a difference on it. So I'm saying that as young people, we need to take charge of our time. Imagine if there's a young person that was running in the Bank of Namibia, for instance, would have made sure that the repo rate, in terms of just doing by a single point, could have said, let's do it at a triple basis. Let's go down by triple basis, because we understand where we are as a nation. We understand that 80% of this country is unemployed, and the inflation rate in commerce is at 5%. So we need to ensure that whatever we do is to ensure that everybody is able to live a comfortable life, and not only for the few.
And finally, on the show, we had Fanyol Shinedima, who is the founder of the Namibia Youth Energy Forum, which is a forum calling for the youth inclusivity in the energy sector, the booming energy sector of our country. Mr. Shinedima spoke to our colleague Jemima Biakes, and this is what he had to say.
So the Namibia Youth Energy Forum is a youth-led initiative or platform that advocates for youth inclusivity in the energy sector. So we're quite broad in terms of our focal areas, and we represent youth from across the whole country. So we have membership base of young people from across all the 14 regions of Namibia. And we, of course, focus on the oil and gas sector, focus on green hydrogen as well as renewable energy. And our objectives is to, firstly, we aim to educate and to inspire and to empower young people to actively participate in Namibia's energy sector. So what we try to do is try to sort of like partner and work with industry stakeholders in order to leverage for opportunities for young people, looking at opportunities within, of course, the entrepreneurial space, career-wise, as well as other upskilling and information-focused initiatives.
Can you tell me, let's go back, when did you guys start and what gave birth to the forum?
All right, we started this year around February. And what gave birth to this forum, I think there was a lack of a platform that sort of like provides what we're doing today, you know, a platform that could represent and source for opportunities for young people or a platform that could aim towards educating young people. And of course, looking at Namibia's energy landscape, there's so many developments and there's so many projects going on and investment coming. And we believe that if young people are actually empowered and informed about this sector and have access to these opportunities, we can actually benefit more than we currently are getting. So that is what inspired this initiative. We wanted to make it information more accessible, opportunities more accessible, and for young people to also have an opportunity to actively participate in this sector.
So, like you're saying, for young people to get information of this energy industry, can you just give us, you mentioned something about upskilling. What are currently the skills that are a shortage? Can you just tell us what's happening in Lutritz right now? Because you have an announcement in terms of Lutritz, something that you're going to start at Lutritz now. What's happening in Lutritz now, and what does that mean for the youth of that town?
Right, cool. I think based on firstly, why we are expanding to Lutritz, I think it's based on our various engagement with various stakeholders. Of course, the industry companies that we've been in talks with that are currently operating in Lutritz. And also, we are currently seeing so many development and projects happening within that area. And one of the key things that was mentioned was that, there is a lack of skills and awareness amongst young people in Lutritz, in terms of, for example, accessing job opportunities or even understanding how to penetrate the sector and the market. And the industry currently sort of like doesn't have doesn't have the platform to collectively upskill young people within the town. So it's up to us as a forum to go there and establish a platform that is able to carry out this mandate to ensure that the young people of Lutritz actually have access to information about the sector. They have access to information about the different career opportunities within the energy landscape, and also not just that, to have access to, of course, financing in order to participate within the business landscape, for example, to provide support services to all the projects happening in the town, and also access to support in terms of education-wise. We want them to access financing and also training in order to get the necessary skills and qualifications in order for them to become employable, because we don't want these jobs to be given to outside people. We want the locals to benefit, and we are going to start that with the youth.
So you're talking about the platform offering a platform for young people to be able to know how to access these opportunities. How would you advise a young person that is now not in Lutritz, that is outside, that is somewhere else in the country? How can they access these opportunities down there, and what are these opportunities? If you come from, if I come to Windhoek, I'm looking at finding a job somewhere in a shop. What does it look? What does the landscape look right now in terms of employment in Lutritz?
Yeah. Okay. With regards to the advice to young people, especially across the whole country. And this is also what has been maybe what few have done. I think it's to try and research as much as you can, to understand what is happening, what are the skills that the industry is demanding, and how can you sort of like channel that into your career progression. And with regards to what we do in terms of assisting and supporting young people, and this is also what we've currently worked on in Windhoek, hence why we are also trying to branch out to other towns in order to ensure that the same support that we are giving out to young people in Windhoek is the same support that we are able to give into other towns. With our first town, of course, going to be Lutritz, we're trying to organize various workshops and events where we're trying to bring industry stakeholders and bring youth in one room where they're able to engage and get direct information about the kind of opportunities that are available, and also what they need to do in order to get there. So that is one of the best ways that has worked for us, because we've organized several workshops and events here in Windhoek, and we've gotten positive feedback from few young people who came back to us and telling us about the different kinds of internships that they got, and hence why the platform is important for other young people as well. So that is also some of the things that we try to do. We are also partnering up, and we're currently in talks with various recruiters, agencies in the country, when we are working with them to sort of like try to leverage for opportunities and ensure that young people sort of have access to the market. They have the necessary qualifications or the skills, or they have the access to job openings and opportunities that come through. So that is also something that we are working on as an organization, and also trying to negotiate and work with industry stakeholders to source for apprenticeships and internships for young people. So those are some of the strategies that we're currently using to ensure that young people can directly access the industry.
So, as you know, Namibia has scores of young people that are unemployed right now. Many of them have qualifications. Many of them have experience in industries such as engineering. How would you advise? Because many of the Namibian youth are also not trained in petroleum engineering, for instance. How would you advise them to upskill themselves at this point?
Yeah, I think with regards to qualifications and the lack of the required skills by the industry, I think the best way to upskill is to try and use the available resources and platforms to our disposal, you know. That's why I always say, like, researching and educating yourself on what is happening is the best way forward. And then also trying to knock on these people's door, you know, for opportunities. If you are, for example, have only a degree and you are required to have a master's for a certain type of job of qualification, I feel like it's also important that you are able to go out there and market yourself and go to those people and ask them and beg them, you know, to fund you to further your studies in the required field. And also trying to be out there and letting their voices be heard so that they can get the necessary support that they need. There's also various platforms, online platforms, that provide different kinds of information and resources, free online courses and all those kind of things. So I think those are also some of the best ways to sort of like try to upskill and ensure that you have good understanding of what is happening.
That is all that we had for you on the evening review this week. We look forward to again bringing you better and bigger content next week. Have a blessed weekend.